Everyone has at least one game that they love that is usually a controversial pick for any amount of reasons. For some people, it's Dark Souls 2. Others, it's Devil May Cry 2. However, for me, it's Trails of Cold Steel 2. Weirdly, it's always the sequels, huh? But nonetheless, I replayed the game over the last month, and I have come to the conclusion that it's one of my favorite games of all time. I felt this way about a year ago when I first played the game and finished it, but however, a year later, I still feel the same, playing so many other games in the series that people consider to be greater. At this point, you're probably wondering, but what is Trails of Cold Steel 2? Well, it's part of the greater Legend of Heroes' smaller subsection known as the Trail series. The series currently has 12 games and a spin-off, with another mainline entry on the way later this year with Kai no Kiseki. So I always admired it from afar, afraid to even get into them until a close friend recommended it, and then I ignored her for 6 months, and then I eventually started with Trails in the Sky, and man, what an experience that was. That game actually changed my life in so many ways, and is the reason I've met so many people. But I digress. Trails is a long-running JRPG series by Nihon Falcom, the same company behind the Ys series of games. I've always admired these games from afar and knew of their existence as someone who likes nicher and smaller JRPGs. However, the sheer size of this series always scared me off, but man, I don't regret getting into it whatsoever. I will say though that this video is definitely not a source for getting into the series, but I recommend everyone who wants to play these games start with the first entry chronologically, Trails in the Sky, the first chapter. The game is always on sale on Steam, so if you find yourself even remotely intrigued by this game, I would recommend definitely giving it a serious look. It's a phenomenal story that will hopefully manage to hook you in. The game is also receiving a remake next year in 2025 as revealed in the latest Nintendo Direct, and it seems like they're remaking the entirety of the trilogy. There's no confirmation on that though. I will say, if you're a fan of mecha shows such as Code Geass, this entry wears that inspiration from it on its sleeve in so many ways. The mech design, the story beats, the characters and the archetypes they fill, they're all heavily inspired by Code Geass. But the main criticism of Cold Steel 2 ranges from the second half of the story being kind of a slog, and there's many variations of how people complain about it, but the pacing is the main complaint I've seen online. However, in my 2 times playing the game, I can say that I never really felt this whatsoever, and actually enjoyed both acts thoroughly. Both acts feel like they're from different games at points. The way that they are structured is very different, but they feel like they belong together. To avoid spoiling major plot points from the game though, I don't want to go any further into the story or even talking about it. Just know that this is my favorite entry because it really resonated with me on a personal level, and that I just thought the storytelling was really good. While I know that Cold Steel 2 is not necessarily a popular or widely liked game, I truly do consider it to be one of my favorite games of all time despite its many flaws. Just everything about this game has meant something to me over the past year, and it's a game I think back on very fondly on both playthroughs actually, which is not something that happens very often for me. I'm not the greatest with conclusions, but I do hope this video intrigues someone to at least give this game another shot, or even get into the series for the first time. I do one day hope to do a more in-depth look at Cold Steel 2, maybe like an hour-long video essay, just because I think it would be kind of interesting to go and dissect that game thoroughly. But I just kind of wanted to ramble about this entry for a bit, but thank you for watching this first cobbled together video. Hopefully there'll be more soon. I have some stuff in the work, and I hope you guys stick around and watch it. Thank you!